Go on then, what do you think about his reasons for doing that and what it says about their future?
I don't know about their long-term future, but what it's really clear is he's mentioned engaging with teammates, he's mentioned standards, so he's given us clues, emphatic clues as to what's happened in the last few days, that they've been, moping and not doing their bit around the training ground, engaging with their teammates properly, and standards in training. And he's thought, no, I'm not having it, I'm not accepting it. And good on him, because for far too long we've seen players mope around that pitch and still continue to get a game and, he's on the bench today. No, it's got to be non-negotiable. If you don't give your all in your job, you're gone. You're out. That's it. That's not just actually as a football player, that's a plumber, electrician, anybody in life. If you don't give your very best and you don't look like you're enthused every single day. And we've said for years, we've been sat in this studio for years as Manchester United ex-players saying, just give your absolute all, and the players not running back. We've seen Rashford and Garnacho for years stand up on that left and right wing, not chase back when fullbacks have gone past them, and keep their place in the team. No more.
You must feel sorry for them, though, a little bit. Maybe for Rashford, homegrown player.
I want Marcus Rashford and Garnacho to come back stronger, take the message that they've been given this morning by going training at the training ground on a Sunday when no one else is there. I want them to take this in the right spirit and become the very best players for Manchester United. But what's really clear, I don't care who you are, whether you're Andrei Kanchelskis, Ryan Giggs, David Beckham, Nani, whoever you are as a wide player at Manchester United, you've got to run that way as fast as you can, you've got to run back that way as fast as you can. And then the rest of it, to be fair, they've got the talent and they've got the ability. But if they don't do that, there's no place for you in the club, there's no place for you in the team.
But do you think Rashford's a little... No, I just feel like every time we're talking about Man United and I think Rashford is a little bit of a scapegoat at times.
Don't hone in on Rashford. Don't hone in on Rashford. Don't try and move the...
I'm not because...
Don't try and move it. Garnacho and Rashford have sulked for the last few weeks.
Yes, but hold on. But Garnacho's not gone to the same level as Rashford before. Rashford scored 30 goals 2 seasons ago. So I'm talking about a player who can do it at the top level when he's playing well. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying it seems sometimes at Man United... It's always Rashford's
Do we know United's running stats? I bet United would be one of the lowest teams.
They are. Yeah. They're one of the lowest teams in the league. Michael, to be honest with you, I hear this. You're focusing on Marcus Rashford. I prefer to look at both of them. But if we want to talk about Marcus Rashford, he's on, I think, the highest wage in the club apart from Casemiro. To be fair, Casemiro just got a wonderful contract. He's on 350 grand a week, reportedly. Right? He's a star player who has scored 30 goals. With that comes the scrutiny and expectation of being one of the best players. Mm-hmm. Whether you were Cristiano Ronaldo at Manchester United, whether you were Roy Keane, whether you were Wayne Rooney, whether you were David Beckham, whether you were the star player of any era, Eric Cantona, more had to be demanded of you than Gary Neville at right back. Let's be clear. If I don't play well, not many people are going to talk about it. If Roy Keane does something bad, or if David Beckham does something bad, or if Marcus Rashford does something bad, that is where they're the big players. They get the most money for a reason. So if he's not working back, if he's not playing well, if he's not looking like he's enjoying himself, right, he then something has to happen. This is very good for Marcus Rashford today. I see this as a real positive. I think Ruben Amorim has said tonight, next week we start with a clean slate. Training starts again. I hope Marcus Rashford is playing on Thursday night against Tottenham. I really do. And I hope he goes and scores 2 or 3 goals and he fights for every single pass and every single ball. But he's not been doing that.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's... I'm just giving an alternate view.
What's the alternate view?
The alternate view is from sometimes outside of Man United, whenever there's problems, Rashford gets the blame.
Right, Micah.
That's my... I'm not saying with the new manager. Micah. Obviously, he's got his reasons why he's left him out, him and Garnacho. I'm just talking historically with Man United, Rashford seems to get the blame.
Micah, Harry Maguire has been butchered at this football club for 3, 4, 5 years. David De Gea was hammered a few years ago, for mistakes. They're not the only ones to have had a difficult time. Di Maria was chased and hounded out of the club after about 8 months. There are players in the last 10 years. Bruno gets a horrific time at times off us and off other fans and off the media. There are loads of players at that club who've been absolutely hammered.
You mentioned a good example earlier about we played with some brilliant wide players, particularly Ryan Giggs and David Beckham. Whether you like them or not, doesn't matter. These players were brilliant going forward, brilliant Man United players. And sometimes you need examples, and we're talking about the 2 wide players who've been left out today. Ryan Giggs and David Beckham were brilliant players, brilliant going forward. But you speak to anyone who's played with them or played against them, and they ran back, and they had to run back because we wouldn't have tolerated it. So if this idea of playing football, if it was all just about running forward, football would be great.
Is there something deeper going on? Players don't just run back, do they? But there must be something going on
De Bruyne,
within what they're going through, or the manager. I don't know. Rashford just doesn't run back for no reason, does he?
Right, let's look at Bernardo Silva, let's look at Phil Foden, let's look at David Silva, let's look at Kevin De Bruyne, let's look at the players who've played for your team over the last 7 or 8 years, who are the most beautiful players, some of the most beautiful players we've ever seen in this league. They work like dogs. They work like League Two midfield players.
What's the difference? They've had a constant manager who set the standards and they all buy into it.
Well,
at times, Man United don't know where they are. They've chopped and changed it. They've relied on Rashford. When his form's good, he's here. And then sometimes when it's not going so well, he gets a lot of the
ball. You need a coach and manager to get you to run?
No, you shouldn't do. But I'm just giving an alternate view.
Micah, what about Ahmad then? So Ahmad today, right? Manchester United have been the most woeful. This is the worst Manchester United team that have ever started a Premier League season. But that kid is 22 years of age, right? There's ownership issues, there's sporting directors leaving, they're losing more goals from corners, they're shipping everything badly, and that kid runs around that pitch like it hurts. So tell me why he can.
It's different though for Rashford. He's got the world on his shoulders. It's pressure. You know what it's like coming into a team as a kid. When you come in, you run around. For me, it looks like Rashford just got the world on his shoulder. It seems to me like there's a bigger problem than just football.
Micah, I played with David Beckham, with Wayne Rooney,
but you keep talking about... We're talking about the current Man United.
The pressure that Marcus Rashford is under is nothing like the pressure that David Beckham or Roy Keane
but look at your squad. The names you've just reeled off, all serial winners. This Man United team are not all serial winners.
We weren't winners at the start, Micah. You had to earn the right to win football.
Exactly what I'm saying, but I'm saying that you put Rashford in you lot's era.
Well, you should a Rashford. I'm on any Man United player, any white player. If the players weren't running back, Kinchelski, Sharpie, all these boys, they wouldn't be tolerated. They wouldn't be allowed. They wouldn't be in the team by the manager and the staff, but by the players. It wouldn't have been acceptable. But it seems to be whatever goes on at the training ground, the culture, far too long. Whatever Rashford and Garnacho, whatever bits they weren't doing, they seem to have been. That's okay. We'll tolerate it. This new manager
I'm agreeing with it. I understand. The managers come in.
Let's transfer.
Not seeing what he's liked and made a decision. Okay, I think that's fine. But I'm just saying historically.
Let's transfer it away from what we think.
Okay.
Why has Ruben Amorim, a 39-year-old young coach from Sporting Lisbon, come in, worked with 2 players who are extremely talented for 2 weeks, and thought, I don't even want you in my matchday squad? Tell me why. Why has he done that?
Because when he was at Sporting and his way of playing with a new system, they want their front three to work as hard as possible. Rashford, unfortunately, we don't know if he's a number 9, if he's going to play a 10, is he going to play a wing back? And I'm not defending Rashford. I'm just saying that the reason the manager even said it was tactically a couple of things that he didn't like, maybe attitude. We don't know that. I'm not going to say.
Micah, we know what Ruben Amorim said. He said he looked at them in training. He said he didn't think they trained as well as the players who were in the squad, not just the 11. But in the squad. And before the match, he said we didn't like the way, or we evaluated a lot of things, including the way how they engaged with their teammates. So he did tell us why he was leaving both players, both Garnacho and Rashford, out of not just the team.
How would you feel as a player?
But out of the squad.
If a manager mentions that about you as a player after a match and gave them little signals, and you're left out of a first team squad, not that you've been put on the bench in a big game, in a derby game against Man City, and you heard these noises coming up, what he might think about you, you'd be ashamed of your life.
It's not great.
He might come along and say, tactically, I'm leaving you, or you might be carrying a knock, but they come up with these noises and saying they were training too small, whatever the training ground, that's fine. Obviously, they have to keep on top of their fitness, but to get these messages to people who are listening, and he knows what he's doing, this manager. He's smart. He's a smart cookie. And he has got a bit of power now because they've won the game, and he can get these messages out to the players going, I'm the new manager, and I'll make these decisions. But for them players sitting at home, by the way, they must be sitting there going, oh, my good God, I'm embarrassed if that's what he's saying about me, about my attitude and the way I engage with my teammates.
So do you think he's done the right thing by leaving them out the squad and by talking about it in the way that he has?
Of course, he's had to make big decisions. That's what he's done. He's in the door 3 or 4 weeks, and he's not. Again, his eyes don't lie to him. He's looking at the players. Results haven't been great, and obviously these 2 players aren't on their own in terms of their performances. But if he's on about attitude, the way they train, then you do say to him, and I suppose the time to do it is in a big game, because you go, listen, it will grab a few headlines like it did before the game. He knew what he was doing. He gets to win. But hopefully also the other side of man management is going, but you're also, lads, you've made a mistake, you've got to liven up. I will have you back in the squad, but I need a reaction from you. That's what sport is about. Will you get a reaction from these two players? We'll wait and see over the next week or two.
Kelly, how do you change a culture? We talk about culture in a football club. Who are the two best players at Manchester United in terms of attacking players? Marcus Rashford and Garnacho. They're the two players, without a shadow of a doubt, that you would look at and say Manchester United's best two attacking players.
Best of the bad bunch, Gary. Best of the bad bunch.
They are, but they're the very best that Manchester United have at this moment in time. Marcus has scored 30 goals. Garnacho's come onto the scene and ripped it up for a couple of years and looks like a real potential star. If those two players, as the stars, are setting a bad standard and not engaging with their teammates correctly, you either have to do one of two things. You try and shirk it as a manager, which many would have done. You try and put them on the bench and say, OK, I'm just leaving them out and I'm resting them and they can play in bigger way. Or you can make a real statement and say, I'm sorry, I'm not accepting it or tolerating it, no matter who it is, even if it's the most talented players on the most money. And that's what he's done today. Now, Manchester United didn't play well today, let's be really clear. But the bold decision that the manager has made, and the kid who, to be fair, has played the game like it should be played, have got their rewards for being bold. And that's why I am happy tonight. Because we cannot keep year after year watching Manchester United being dross. They've lost 15 games away now on the bounce in away games against big teams. They lose goals from corners. They don't come back from behind. There is a mentality and cultural problem in the team and in the dressing room. But tonight may just help them. They'll feel empowered and stronger tonight than they've ever felt probably in the last few years because of big decisions have been made.
Yeah, but it's sad that it's took the manager to make that decision for him to be a new manager in the door. That should be taken care of. That should be put to bed when players who aren't training properly and showing a bad attitude aren't running back. The dressing room should get a grip of that. That's another concern, that it's took a new manager to come and go, that won't be tolerated. That should have been dealt with months ago because some of these players have been training and behaving like that for a long time and they've been let get away with it. But fair play to the new manager.